Hi all. So, if you see my face is a little greasy, it's because somehow I had like a reaction to something, one of the 12 steps of the Korean skincare, whatever, something. And I was like, oh no, it's like burning, and I had to put my little CeraVe to like fix my skin. So that's what this is. But the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, I didn't know that lawyers could be so sassy. I didn't realize that. Were they always like this? I thought that that only happened like in the actual courtroom. I think I knew that they'll give like a little quip, like a tiny little quip if the press is asking. But this has been back and forth, back and forth. Like now it feels like the lawyers got beef with each other. It's like, what is happening? So I have my notes. So if I'm looking down, it's just because I couldn't remember all the sass, okay? My sass quota was filled. But so Blake Lively is trying to say that Justin Baldoni is actively working to dismantle California laws designed to protect sexual harassment victims from legal retaliation. Okay. It says her attorney said Mr. Baldoni has gone from monetizing a brand devoted to believing and supporting women. Ooh, look at that shade. Look at that shade. They're saying you made money off of doing this, to leading the charge to tear down the very law that protects women who come forward about sexual assault, harassment, and discrimination. Okay. Okay. So let's see. Let's see. So then that came. So then somebody on Blake Lively's team came also with this quote: "The Wayfarers Party's attempt to slap Miss Lively with a lawsuit has failed, has not only failed miserably, but exposes them to substantial economic damages. Miss Lively will continue to show all victims that they are not alone and that they do not have to stay silent and that the law is on their side." Okay, so I have no idea. I have no idea if she really misinterpreted the situations at play. Because think about this now. If she in her heart of hearts is like, I wasn't sexually assaulted, something went down, and she never expected it to get this far, how that would be evil. That would be so evil. So that's why, like, even though I'm keeping tabs on this, I have to admit there is a part of me that's like, really. And I think I understand why. um it's very common in in the world when you hear like a parent is abusive, or somebody in a relationship is abusive, or a clergyman, everyone, like, their initial reaction is to be like, no, that's not the case, that's not the case. And I've always wondered, why is it? Because they can't accept that they missed the signs. They are invested in that person and they don't want to deal with reality. They're cowardly. Like, I've never been, I've thought about that, right? I'm not really sure why. But like, I'm reading this, what she's saying, and it's like, there's a part of me that's like, well, maybe she really just does think that, maybe there was just a lot going on in her head, and it's just, the pressures of going back to film, and she just had a baby, and the hormones, and not feeling good about her body. That doesn't excuse it. But then it's like, okay, so she wasn't malicious or evil, she just let her emotions get the best of her. That's a much easier pill to swallow than, oh, she might not have a conscience, right? And I don't know too if it's because it's like we don't see ourselves doing something like that. But it's very interesting because as I'm reading this, I'm like, if this was really, if she really like made this up, or is just trying to do this to get out of trouble, it's oof, oof, she would never recover. Like, what are you talking about? Like, if she really, if there really is a smoking gun that shows like he didn't harass her at all, nothing happened, she would be evil. She'd be so evil to continue to do this. I, you know what I mean? And so then, let's see. So then, one of one of her attorneys told TMZ. That's the other thing, is like the attorneys are talking to TMZ. Like, this was probably like after OJ, you know. I think like the lawyer's like, oh, we can get a taste of fame, and I think like they've just, because can you imagine that? Can you imagine going to your lawyers and like maybe you've never sued someone before and you're really vulnerable and you're like, I really don't know if I can handle this legal battle. And it's like, no worry, boo, I got you. Let me call to TMZ. Like, I understand that they're celebrities, but it's odd to me that they're also doing that. Like, are they also calling the paparazzi on themselves? It's a little weird. A little weird. But, so her attorneys, Mike Gottlieb and Ezra Hudson, Justin Baldoni, the man who has built his brand on supposedly speaking up for victims, believes that the First Amendment rights of victims of sexual assault and harassment to speak out should give way to the rights of perpetrators to sue their victims into oblivion. Okay. Okay, so now Justin Baldoni's attorneys were like, nah, you're not gonna come for my boy like that. Okay? And they came ready to throw shade. This convoluted statement makes it abundantly clear that Miss Lively and team are rattled and once again resorting to making inflammatory remarks to steer focus away from the actual facts. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie, as a response, as a lawyer, pretty classy. Pretty classy is pretty good. Pretty good. Says this was the part that I was like, damn, he came for the shade. So Baldoni's attorney is named Friedman. He's named Friedman. I'm trying to get his full name. I have it here somewhere. Excuse me. Brian Friedman. Okay. So Brian, our boy Brian, said, it's surprising that Miss Lively and her team are suddenly speaking so passionately about the hard-won rights of the survivor community, considering she sidestepped this topic for the entirety of the film campaign, focusing instead on her hair care and alcohol products. I mean, yeah. Yeah, when I saw like promos for the movie It Ends With Us, I didn't know it was about domestic violence. I thought it was like, I honestly thought it was probably about generational trauma, which I guess it kind of is, but I didn't think it would be like domestic violence with a partner, maybe like, or overcoming poverty, with the flower shop and everything. Yeah, I didn't get those vibes. And then when I found out what it was about, I was like, okay, where are your florals? What? This movie's about being abused. What are you talking about? And yeah, you have Ryan Reynolds just has to like sell everything, and he has to own everything, and he has to buy soccer teams that no one gives a shit about. I'm sorry, if you like soccer, that's on you, but no, and it was him and Blake have this like skeeviness and like the superiority complex of, because they're attractive people, and if we're honest with ourselves, they hit the quintessential, or like the very old school, like attractiveness for the United States, right? Like, the woman blonde, pretty sure she's blue eyed, tall, nice body, and then Ryan Reynolds, I guess he's more like I guess he's supposed to be like the handsome of today, like with his glasses, and he's so smart, and he's so, he's just so quippy. He's so quippy. I would love to see a comedian just tear into him and just be like, so he could finally understand, like, no, you're not funny, just because you could do these simple quips, like, oh my god, it was just it the video where he sits down with the guy in the movie, the love interest, and he like shows him a picture of his own butt, and he's like, what's that about? And it was just like, it was so cringy, it was so unfunny. What he did in SNL, everything he touches just turns, just like comedic, it just turns to ash in your mouth. Like, you're not, I don't know who told him that he was funny. I don't, or it was, he, there are some actors, they don't understand. Like, you can play this quippy character because you have writers behind you. You're not actually that in real life. You know what I mean? Like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And the fact that nobody was smart enough to be like, hey, this movie is about domestic violence. It's about trying to overcome that. Maybe it's not the time to try to sell alcohol. She doesn't even drink. Before, celebrities they used to try, right? They used to be like, yeah, and I use this all the time. I use this extra virgin olive oil. They would probably like do some research, and they'd look it up, and they would try to be more convincing. But now they're not even trying. They're like, yeah, I have this alcohol product line, even though I don't drink. Why are you making this then? You don't need to do this. You don't. And it also too, like, how desperate are you for money? Like, I haven't looked up their net worth. I don't want to. I think I looked up. Ryan Reynolds has definitely got to be in like the 40 millions. That dude is always selling stuff and hustling. Like, really? Every single opportunity you have to hawk down some bullshit with your little fake ass quippiness. It's pathetic. They're pathetic. So I did kind of enjoy this. That was shade that I really did love, because it's true. It's like, you look dumb. How many videos popped up on social media? You look dumb. Or there were people who said, the book was engrossing. It meant something. Or there were some people who just said, I've had to overcome domestic violence. It's awful, And then, like, wear your florals, have this cocktail even though I don't drink, and buy the hair care products. Her hair didn't even look better than mine. Looks really bad right now. This is the same level of hairstyling that she had when she did that product campaign. It didn't make any sense. This is the part where Brian became, I love him so much. He said, she does not need discovery to find out who smeared her. Just a mirror will do. Yeah, just a mirror and looking at her raggedy ass husband. I don't like that man. I never liked him. Even before all this went down, I saw some of the Deadpool. I'm able to separate the art from the artist, although I'm using those words very loosely. I like how Ryan Reynolds has been labeled as a co-conspirator. So I don't know. We'll see. It is gonna be very interesting to see how this all wraps up. But there's gonna be repercussions, right? Like, I think that's the thing, is even though like it's it's entertaining, it's interesting, I still feel, even though I don't like Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively, I still feel bad for them because they've created their own misery, you know? It's like they tried so hard to build their brand and be something that they weren't. And now it looks like they're gonna fail on a massive level. You know, I'm over here. I'm nothing on the scale of things, and I'm over here making a video like, oh my god, you guys are so off-putting. It's terribly off-putting. And you know, at the end of the day, for the most part, everybody wants to be liked, or if you're not even liked, you at least don't want people to mess around with your food and your needs. And I don't know. I don't know. I mean, I guess to be honest, they probably will find work. I guess even though Hollywood is a dying industry, like after a certain point, people honestly they forget and they move on. They could be incredibly angry and just just rabid with just and then eventually it'll be like, yeah, well, what are you gonna do? You know, I think there's very few people who actually sit down with their values and morals, and they're not working based off emotions. And when they say they don't like someone, or this person actually disgusts me because of their actions, it's not hype. They're not following the cycle. They're just, you know, calling a spade a spade. So that's why I could also see them in a couple years still getting work. Um, but I don't know. It's hard. It's also hard to picture where Hollywood is gonna be in a couple years. How many how many Marvel nostalgia films can they make? You know, action heroes are pretty much getting phased out. You know, what goes up must come down. So I don't know. It's very interesting, and I wonder too how many people in their social network or their, you know, their friends and stuff, social connections are actually going to stick with them, because that's the next video I want to talk about. But yes, thank you guys for watching, and I'm sorry for my very greasy face, but yeah, I can't quit these two. I can't quit these two because I don't follow it as closely as other people. But then I'll see an article like that, and I'm like, oof, things are getting testy, and it will be interesting to see the outcome. And just because I can equally see it going both ways right now. Um, I I don't know. It is funny, right? Because we're probably talking about it, but there has to be judges that's like, oh, I have no idea what's going on, and it'd be interesting to see them just be very impartial in what they would say. But let me hop on to the next video. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.